All right, so you just read about how to apply basically an if, elif conditional statement within a data frame, right? And this is often done to create a new variable based off of certain conditions. Now, if you read or watched the video as well, you got a much deeper introduction to the apply function, and you also got introduced to the map function and apply map. All three very useful, but the apply function is probably the one that you will find yourself using more often. So let's go ahead and take a look. We're going to use this apply function in order to accomplish this knowledge check, where we want to look at each transaction. So we have our transactions loaded here. And what we want to do is create what's called a power rating. And this power rating is simply based off of the value of sales value. So we have sales value right here. And what we want to do is create a new variable called power rating. And the value for that transaction is going to equal 1 if the sales value is less than the 25th percentile. It's going to be equal to 2 if the sales value is less than the 50th percentile, 3 if it's less than the 75th, and if it's greater than the 75th, then it's going to be equal to 4. Right? So how are we going to do this? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to use a quantile function. And what this does is, if I go ahead and take a look at sales value, and if I look at the quantile, I can get the value for the X quantile of that column, right? So the 25th quantile, the value is actually $1.29, right? So the 50th, which would be basically equal to the median value, is going to be 2.0, right? So that's, and if I want to get the 75th percentile, I could put 0.75 in there, and so on, right? You often hear people talk about get the 99th or 95th percentile, right? I could look at that and I can see that just about $8 is the 95th percentile or quantile. All right, so how do I put this to use? Well, we're going to create a function. Now, I know we haven't covered how to create functions. We'll get introduced to that later on in this module. But all I need to do is, within here, fill in the blanks for this switch statement to complete this, right? So I'm going to go ahead and create these values called low, medium, and high. And all this is equal to is the 25th percentile, the 50th percentile, and the 75th percentile. And I'm going to say if the sales value for that given transaction is less than low, right, less than this 25th quantile value, then up here I said I want to return 1, right? So I'm going to return 1. If the sales value is less than the 50th percentile, I want to return 2, right? So here this would be medium, which is equal to the 50th percentile. I'm going to return the value 2. If it's less than the 75th, which is what I call high here, then I'm going to return the value 3. And if it's greater than that, which I just have else, I'm going to do 4. Now, in this case, I'm just looking to see if the values are less than low, medium, or high, and I just do return. Now, I could add another elif in here where I'm specifically looking for anything less than low, medium, high, and then like the 100th quantile. And then everything else, which could capture missing values, infinite values, or whatnot, that could be equal to an NA or some other value if I wanted to. But I'm trying to keep this simple here. All right, so all this is going to do, since this if-elif statement works in sequence, it'll first check to see if it's less than low. If not, it moves on to the next statement. If it's less than medium, we return this. If not, it'll move to the next one. If it doesn't meet that condition, then it must mean that it is greater than low, medium, and high, right? And then I return 4. So let's go ahead and execute this code. and it's going to take a little bit of time because it's going to iterate through each row within our transactions data frame. And we are done. So now we can go ahead. Let's take a look at our data frame, and I see all the way to the right where I created my new column. I now have this power rating, and you can see first two transactions were less than the 25th quantile. They got power rating of 1. The next one was greater than the 25th, but less than the 50th, so they got the power rating of 2, and so on.